Hey guys, welcome to the first installment of what I anticipate will be a lengthy series in which we are going to go through one by one the items I acquired from the estate of a former Bell Labs scientist, engineer, ham radio operator, machinist, all around very talented, skilled individual. He passed away, unfortunately, recently at the age of 94, and I knew his nephew from some previous dealings, and he's collects and restores radios himself, and that's how he knew me, and the two of us had a lot of interesting conversations going through all this stuff, and he's told me a lot of stories about his uncle. And we had, a lot of interesting discoveries going through it and talking about the items and whatnot. And he was very happy that they were going to a good home. So I thought we'd start out with this toolbox. While I was there, a lot of tools were carefully arranged on a workbench on a pegboard. And I was taking out tools that I knew that I could use that were in good condition. I was looking for somewhere to put them. I found a toolbox that was half full, and I just added them to it. I have not looked at this since I picked it up. I don't recall what all's in here, so let's get to it. It's a cool, vintagey toolbox with a nice hammer tone finish on it. I believe it says Ward's Master Quality on it. Unfortunately, one corner got dinged up, and it looks like maybe somebody attempted to weld it back. I don't know, but this corner has a little bit of damage on it. But otherwise, it's in good condition, and it is chock full of tools. I guess let's start in the top tray. These are most of the items I pulled out of the workbench. We have a number of wire strippers. I haven't used these in ages, but I remember them when I was younger, using them in shop. You can adjust these by loosening up that screw and selecting where the jaws close. They each have a notch cut out, and you adjust it for the appropriate wire diameter you're stripping. Nice to have. Nice to have. Better than what I've been using, which, well, sometimes it's just a pocket knife. Let's see. Oh, very, very nice little file here. I got a whole bunch of files. Some are in here, some are elsewhere. Most of mine are all rusty and worn out and dinged up, so glad to get that. Some very, very fine, nicely crafted needle nose pliers. They're way better than the junk I've been using, which are mostly cheapo ones like from Michaels or Joann Fabrics, and more for like hobby jewelry making than any kind of serious craftsman type work. Don't see a brand name on these, but man, really nice, sharp points on the ends, and everything fits together very nicely. Feel very nice in the hands. Here is another one. This one does have a name, Klein & Son, Chicago, Illinois. So there's a Linesman on the logo. Also very nice. I mean, it's crazy how nice a condition these are, considering they've probably 60, 70 years old, I'm guessing. Like, they're from the 50s. 40s, 50s, 60s, somewhere in there. That is a ream, I believe. After you drill out a hole, you insert this in there and run it around, and it gets out all the spurs and these sharp metal edges left sticking out. I think you can mount this in a drill. Let's see, there's a name on there. Little Giant, 7/16. We've got a mini crowbar made by Craftsman, a little pry bar. But that's nice. So this must have been, what do you call it? Cast, like sand cast, and then they ground it down. I mean, look how clean that is. I don't know if that's stainless steel or just steel, but there's not a speck of corrosion on it. Or maybe just a little tiny amount. It's probably just some dirt on the end there. And that goes for all this stuff. I mean, I'm used to, geez, you go to an estate sale and you pull out an old toolbox and the thing's half rust. This stuff is all great condition. Some nice wrenches, and they're really, really thin, so you can get into shallow spaces with them. And it's, well, I can't describe it. If you haven't held old tools in your hand, they're different. They're different from what you would buy in like Home Depot today. The finish on them, the way they're kind of machined, maybe the type of steel they used, they feel better. You can tell they're higher quality. Another wrench. I'm trying to see if there's a name on it. The Billings and Spencer Co., Hartford, Connecticut, USA. A nice little wrench. A pair of pliers, drop forged. Just a 2 to 3 prong adapter, crusty old pencil, some miscellaneous nuts and bolts, which also, by the way, I keep waxing nostalgic here, but even old nuts and bolts feel different than new nuts and bolts. I don't know, I suspect these are not zinc plated, no corrosion, but they look a little bit different. They feel different. The threading fits nice. It's just strange how things have evolved with manufacturing over time. I suspect that's not a drill bit. I think that's for like a CNC machine kind of deal. There's no point on the end of it. Or maybe a router. More hardware and bits and pieces. Steel rod with a sharp point on the end. I'm not sure what that's from. Maybe it's a scribe. What's this? Similar deal, bit bent and shorter. It's not a nail. I think it's also a scribe, meaning you can strike a line in something with it. I think these are for gapping points, spark plugs, or maybe relays. Basically a bunch of thin sheets of steel of varying thicknesses. Something you really need these days, not on modern vehicles anyway. Alrighty, first off, channel locks. Again, I have a pair of modern channel locks, or more modern than these anyways. They just don't feel the same. The rubber coating on the steel, the way the jaws fit. Nice, nice, nice. Another pair of pliers. Billings and Spencer Co., Hartford, Connecticut again. Nice. I also notice it's curious that a lot of these older tools either never had coating on them or wore off. I'm not sure which is the case. I mean, they're certainly very worn and very smooth, like they've been used, and you know, you would think if they were meant to have a coating, they wouldn't have bothered polishing them up that much. And maybe they were meant to be bare steel like that. Linesman's pliers, also very nice condition. Don't see a name on these. Again, no coating on the handles. A little bit of nick on the jaws, but they're way nicer than my old pair. And probably a lot older than my old pair. Cool how you barely see a seam in there where they fit together so well. Now here's something that, well, first you do this coping saw. I used one a lot way back in the day when I built models and had a model train layout and stuff, but I haven't used one in ages. This one's very nice wood handle, really good condition. Even has a new blade in it. This very cool egg beater drill, and This I do remember seeing and putting in there. In fantastic condition. Beautiful wood on the handles. And just awesome action. A little bit of grinding you hear. That kind of depends on where I put pressure on this. I suspect a little bit of grease and maybe adjusting that screw would be smoother action. But even as it is, it's very, very nice action. Very well made. And that is Goodell Pratt, Greenfield, Massachusetts. Vice grip. Now this is pretty much the same as you'd buy right these days. Vice grip. Maybe this isn't all that old. I don't know. You know, these are the deals where you can tighten this down and then put it on something, and there's a spring in there, and you can squish it down, and it locks on. Let's see. Adjustable wrench, 10-inch angle wrench, drip forged steel jaw. Not the greatest condition. Keep going with the pliers. Now this looks like a pretty ancient pair of vice grips. No name on it that I can see. Oh wait, no, there it is. Lane Sure Grip Company, Chicago, with a patent number. This looks like sort of an early kind of crude version of I think vice grips today basically look exactly like this, but this is a little different. This is a little ancient looking, kind of primitive looking. Do they work even? Not sure. At any rate, interesting. And then the top jaw is flexible. Whereas on the modern version, it's just all fixed one piece. What else we got? There's a file holder. It's like a medieval torture device. How crazy that is. There may have been a coating over that at some point. I don't know. But it looks kind of neat like that. So, I can use one of these wrenches. Should be able to loosen this up and take that out. Yeah. A bit from filing. So it's a file holder and a file. Very nice. Not better than the cheap plastic file holder I have, that's for sure. Nut driver. He had a bunch of nut drivers. I use these so often, especially the 1/4 inch, so I grabbed what I saw that were in good condition. These are a bit newer, I imagine, because they have like acrylic plastic handles. Lovely little hammer. I remember picking this up too. Yeah, it's small, but it feels nice. It's really well balanced. A nice wood handle. It just want to whack something with it. It feels right. Let's see. A little itty bitty Bell Systems. So I wonder if this is from phone company work. I'm curious, there's a little notch on either side of this. I wonder if that's from it getting damaged. Almost looks like you could strip wire with that. Klein Tools. Again, there's a Linesman pictured on the tool. Kind of a little groove cut down there too. Just curious, were these modifications that the users made, or was it made this way, or there some tricks? Because again, it looks like you could strip wire with that little notch that's cut into the jaws there. Oh, what else? Just a boring old box cutter. It's a bit old, but Bladesmith. Cast aluminum, I think. Some hacksaw blades. Looks like we've got a set of don't know exactly what you call these. I mean, they're wrenches, but when they're offset angle like that, I'm sure they have a name. Forged in U.S. Dunlap. Oh, and another set. Some of the flat variety. These are German. This guy kept everything such. I mean, who has their complete set all together like that? I know mine are all scattered to the wind and missing. Okay, we're gonna, let's see, Vadimonium, Germany. Again, they feel different. A pretty nice little. Boy, my modern version of these is just a really chintzy little clasp, but this is nice. Swing around with a wing nut on it. Cool. Oh, here's another one that maybe that went with these guys. Yeah, it seems like they would fit in there. So another pair of needle nose. Oh, these have seen some use. Creator, USA. Yeah, these these have been through some. These have been used and fixed. It looks like. Oh, little itty bitty cutters. It's bad one tip is chipped off, but I mean that's the way it goes when they're this small. But these are great for working when you gotta get into a tight chassis and nip something out. More nut drivers. Screwdriver and Bell Systems. It's probably made specially for some device out in the world, a PBX system or something. Who knows? Some more screwdrivers and big old honking screwdrivers. Axle blade. Getting out of the nitty gritty. Rest of that's offset wrench set. I think these are for changing oil filters, if I'm not mistaken. The wrench, this is from a different set, is a Craftsman. Ooh, nice. A little mini ball peen hammer. Good for whacking. These will be tightened a little bit. The wood's a little split up there. So when they make these, they put the wood through there and then put a wedge and tap it down to lock it into place. It's getting a little worn out. I don't know what kind of wood that is. I would think it would be oak or hickory. It's kind of light. Again, well balanced. What is this strange device? Oh, is that a magnetic? Yes, it is. That is a magnetic picker-up tool for when you drop your nut or bolt or washer down into a crevice and you can't get it. It's got a flexible end on it, it's got a magnet on the end, and it extends outwards. So you do things like that. One of these guys. Oil filters, clipping saw blades, nice. Solder paste, no corrode, spelled in a rather amusing way. Not a road, no corrode. By the M.W. Dunton Company, Providence, Rhode Island. Curious that a lot of this stuff is East Coast or New England. I never thought of New England as being a manufacturing hub. The most economical soldering flux made. No corrode solder paste. Something you don't see that much. You haven't seen me use it because the solder I use has rosin. It's hollow and they have rosin inside of it. So while you're soldering, that's what that kind of smoke stuff. It's the solder paste or flux. But old school days, you'd use this, and the reason it looks like that is because often you would take your soldering iron tip and plunge it into this. Back before they had steel-clad tips, they'd be just raw copper, and if they got exposed to air, they would start pitting and rotting away. so you'd want to keep them fluxed up and clean all the time. Or rather, I should say, you'd use this to clean the copper, then you would apply your lead tin solder to it, and you'd tin your iron, and this would help you to tin your iron. And it would help you solder things together too. This helps the solder flow and kind of clean the joint. That's for electrical work, not for like doing water pipes. Sorted cotters. Cotter pins. I guess this is a, yes. This is a container full of cotter pins. Not something I use very often, but if I ever need one, I've got a nice assortment here. Huh. It's a screwdriver. A very nice wood handle, lightweight. But check out the shaft on that. That's like machined. That is not just a forged screwdriver where they just clean up the end of it. This entire screwdriver has been machined. It's like perfectly square with sharp edges on it. Almost looks like it's tempered too. No name on it. This looks like it could have been homemade. Interesting. Oh, and here's a companion. So I guess it was a set. Again, looks like this was machined. Or was made out of like stock, like drawn square stock. And then the end was pounded out. I don't know. It's seen some use. I'm guessing that's pretty darn old. Alright, here is the final thing in here. Box, there's a bunch of stuff in it, steel. Oh, very nice. Socket set. And looks like everything's here, which is, again, if you open up any of my tool kits, trust me, there's going to be a bunch of stuff missing. Thorson, Oakland, California, hot forged tools. That is a bit unlike any ratchet I've used. Oh, very, very nice action. Let's see, how do you flip it? Ooh, even just flipping the action over feels... Ah, I see. That's how you flip it between tightening and loosening, clockwise and counterclockwise. And it's got all the stuff. You got the extension. We've got the non-ratcheting flavor. Very nice. So hey, that's a nice little treasure trove there. I mean, basically every tool I pull out, I will use. I have a use for. Well, that is off to a fantastic start. I hope you enjoyed looking through this little old time capsule of a tool chest. If any of you know anything about any of these companies or tools, please leave a comment. Thank you.